I'll be your trainer for today. In today's session, we'll be looking at creating a Windows server on the AWS console. So a Windows server on AWS console. That simply means the AMI or the operating system will be Windows, run on Windows. And with this, we can launch a virtual machine, okay, in the cloud. So what you have to do is pretty much simple. To create a server is launching a compute called EC2. So we'll log into the AWS profile, which is this is the console. You click on your EC2 and we go straight down to instance. Click on instance and you click on launch. So what we are launching a server. So I'll give it a name of my choice. So I'm going to put this as a Windows server. So now I'll look at the Amazon machine image. So I'll define what operating system or what AMI I'm using. Because I'm creating a Windows server, I'll click on Windows. I'll have to select the 2022 base, reasons being I'm using a free tier operating system. So right down, I'll say the instant type. The instant type here is T2 micro, and we can see it's still free tier eligible. So I'll be going down straight to key pair. I can create a new key pair. I can select an existing key pair if there is. So at this point in time, I'm going to create a new pair. Just click on create. I can give it a name of my choice. Okay, I can give it a name of my choice. So I'm giving it DevOps. I click on create key. So that is done and saved. In case of next time, you can reuse the same key. So now come to the network. I can edit or use the default network setting here. So for the purpose of this training, I'm going to edit the network. We have a default VPC, which is the network, okay, by default. I'll have to select the default, scroll down, I come to the subnet, I click on the subnet, I can choose any of the availability zones. So here we have availability zone A, B, and C. So you determine which availability zone, okay, you are placing your server. Is it in 1A, 1B, or 1C? So at this point on the subnet 1A, I'm going to select this. Now looking below, we have auto assign public IP enabled so that this server can be accessed through the net or over the internet. So I click on enabled. Coming down, this is the firewall or security group. I'm going to create a new security group. So all I need to do is security group name. I give it a name. I'll give it Windows. I have to move down a little. We can say here the inbound row. So first, by default, you have the RDP with a port range of 3389 and the source type is anywhere. I'm going to select 2 more additional inbound row to allow traffic from the internet or over the internet into your server. So I'm going to select the HTTP and the source type. I'll click on anywhere. I'm going to select again the HTTPS. So with this security group, the row and the port number, this server has been changed from a private to a public server so that it can be accessed over the web. So now we move down to the configured storage. By default, we have 30 gig root volume and it's not encrypted. So at this point, we have all the information were captured. This is the summary of every parameters needed for the server to be created or the EC2 instance. So I click on launch. So at this point, we have an update here. I'll click on instance, or I can have an alternative here, view or instance. It all depends. So I'll click on view or instance. I'll click on refresh to see what I have launched. You can see the status by default is showing as running, and the head status check is showing as initializing. So I'm going to refresh and leave it for 3 minutes. So within the 3 minutes, we'll have the updates confirming the head status as 2 of 2 or 3 of 3 passed. So underneath, by selecting the instance just like this, you can see the details, the status of the alarm, monitoring, security, network, storage, and tag. So all the information regarding the instance is underneath the detail section. You can see all the information, the ID, the public IP, the private IP. You can see the public DNS. You can see it as Amazon AWS.com. All the information that speaks to the instance is here. So you can see the VPC ID and other information. So I'll go back and refresh to see what the update is. While waiting, just to confirm the process, log into your AWS console, click on EC2, go to your instance, click on create instance. So EC2 instance is the platform for creating your website. So you have to define the operating system, which is the AMI, which we have choose the Windows. Underneath, you give it a name of your choice, the server name you choose to. You select the instance type based on the workload or the traffic. So what we use was the free tier, which is T2 micro. After that, you set in your security features and you complete. So at this point, we have our status as 2 of 2, check passed. At this point in time, I'm going to select and click on connect. So I'll click on RODP client. Underneath here, I'm going to click on download remote desktop file. So I'm going to open it up. And finally, I'm going to get my password. I'll click on upload and search for the password which I created. Going down, I'll click on decrypt. I'll pick my password I'll put my password in and click on OK. Yes. So eventually it is launching a virtual machine on my local computer. So I've been able to create a virtual machine on the AWS cloud infrastructure. So this is updating, and just give it 3 more minutes. This should be fully updated. Once again, we have successfully achieved this, creating a virtual machine. The process is pretty much simple once again. Once you can log into the console, use your EC2 compute on the AWS console, and you should be able to create a server, and from the server, make it public, and then connect with your RODP on your local system. Thank you so much, and do have a great time. You can follow me up with the other training. I have other labs available, so it will be beneficial to you. I'm going to delete the resource. Click on the instance, select, and I click on terminate resource.